And this is for the MS in Supply Chain Management students and MS in Management Science students. And so today we're just going to be going through what you need to know about the degree program requirements, what you should be aware of as you build your first semester schedule. And then certainly if you have some questions along the way, you're welcome to drop those in the chat if you'd like. I'll stick around at the end of the call to answer specific questions as well. So if it's something that's a little not quick, feel free to save that question for the end, and I will make sure that I spend the time that we need to answer that. Okay, so if I haven't gotten to email with you yet or chat with you yet, although I think I've probably emailed or chatted with everybody at some point in time here on the call. My name is John Fierst, and I am the program director for both of these master's degree programs in the Jindal School of Management here at UTD. So we are in the operations management area, and that is one of 6 areas in the Jindal School. And the 2 master's degree programs that are here in operations management are supply chain and management science. So I am your program director. Just a little bit about me. I am staff. I'm not actually faculty, so I don't teach in the program, except I will be the instructor of your internship course when it's time to do that. And I don't do research. So really my full-time job is to support you guys from the time that you are thinking about applying to the program to the time that you're admitted, now getting ready to register for your first semester courses. I'll see you at orientation. I'll be here during the semesters that you're enrolled in the program to help you with your internship search and elective choices and things like that. And then I'll be there when you cross the stage at graduation and becoming alumni of the school. So it's really kind of full program management is what I do all day, every day. So just know that, I'm always here to support you. I'm usually pretty fast on email because I'm not in class, I'm not doing research. So if you're emailing with me during the week, I can usually respond to you pretty quickly. A little bit more about me. I'm from the state of Indiana originally. So if you know where the Great Lakes are in the US, that's where I'm from. I'm a Midwesterner at heart, but I've been in Texas now for about 9 years. It'll be 10 years, a whole decade this upcoming summer, summer of 2025. And I moved down here to come to grad school myself. I went to Texas A&M and then lived in Houston for a while and then moved up here to Dallas. I do love to travel, so you're always welcome to come chat with me about travel if you need some suggestions on what to see in the US or other places in the world. I've gotten to travel around a little bit and love doing it. So that's just a little bit about me. If I don't know the answer to your question, I will definitely point you to the right person. And there are some things related to new students and onboarding that I'm not able to help with. So if it's not something that I can help with, I will direct you to the right office here at UTD or to the right person to help you with whatever the issue or question may be if I'm not able to help you myself. And please call me John. You don't need to call me Professor Fierst or Mr. Fierst or anything like that. Just call me John. That is totally fine. Okay, I do want to point out the difference between, excuse me, between me and advising, because sometimes it can be a little bit confusing how we work things here. So if you get directed to speak to an academic advisor, that is our JSOM graduate advising team, which is there on the left side of this table. The academic advising team or the JSOM advising team, they can help with holds on your account if it's an academic department hold. They can help you understand your graduation requirements and kind of calculating your GPA. If you have a question about registering into a course, like how to do it in Orion or your waitlist status, things like that, they'll help you with your application for graduation. That is advising. They help with those things. For me, as the program director, I'm there to provide you with kind of the advice to navigate through the program, understanding the concentrations and tracks within the degree plan, choosing electives, how to report an internship, whether an experience is something that should be counted for the internship requirement of your degree, saying, hey, this is where I want to go with my career, and then working backwards to find the skills in our coursework that'll help get you there. Those are conversations that I have frequently with students. And of course, if you're not sure where to turn to first, just start with me. I'm kind of the navigator for students. So if you're not sure who the right person is to ask the question to, let me know and I will direct you accordingly. So always happy to do that. I'm very pleased to see that most people on the call appear to be logged in to their UTD email. Awesome. Thank you for doing that. Because now that you're an admitted student, all of your communication is going to be going to your UTD email now. So if you have not yet set up your UTD email on your phone or on your laptop, I would strongly encourage you to go ahead and do that and start checking it like at least once a day. It's still quite early, before the semester begins, but once we get close to the semester beginning in January, checking your email multiple times a day is really recommended. So it's a good idea to get in the habit of doing that now, just refreshing that UTD email at least once a day on your phone or logging in once a day on your laptop. To get in the habit of checking that UTD email, because most things aren't going to your personal email anymore. Now that you have access to Outlook and Teams and everything that you need from your UTD credentials, everything's going to your UTD email now. So do make it a point to start checking that, because it's going to be very, very important for your success as a student at UTD that you read your email frequently. Okay, so let's go ahead and dive into what this first semester is going to look like. So I want to start off with the first resource here, which is called Coursebook. Coursebook is our course schedule website. It is publicly available and it does not require you to log in with your UTD credentials, although I believe you can log into Coursebook if you'd like. But you can view it without even needing to log in. The spring 2025 course schedule was released on Monday on Coursebook. So now you can see all of the courses that are going to be offered in your first semester. And then by looking through Coursebook, that's how you're able to start building your schedule. There are 3 types of courses. The first type is a traditional course. That is an in-person class with a classroom. There is a day and time. If you look at the table on the screen here, that middle row that says OPRE 6301.501, that is a traditional course, because you'll see there it has a day, Thursday, a time, 7 p.m., and a location. JSOM 2.803 is a classroom on the second floor of JSOM. So that tells you this is a traditional in-person course. There is a room. The second type of course is an online asynchronous course. Anytime that there's an online course, there's a W in the section number. So take a look at that top row in the table, OPRE 6301.OW1. That is with Professor Sethi, and it says no meeting room, and that's all it says. That means that is an online asynchronous course. There's no meeting room and there's no class time. You get to log into your e-learning site and work on that class at your own pace. So there's not a set meeting time for it. You can work on the class at 11 o'clock at night if you wanted to. That's what asynchronous means. No meeting time that you're required to go to. The last type of course is an online synchronous course. These also have a W in the section number, but you have to pay attention to that other column that's highlighted there, because there is a day and time. So if you look at this, it says Thursday, 7 p.m., but no meeting room. So that means that you're not coming to campus, you're not coming into a classroom, but you're logging onto your laptop Thursdays at 7 p.m. to do the online class live with the instructor. So those are the 3 types of courses that you will encounter in the schedule. Most of our online courses are asynchronous. There's really not that many that are in the synchronous modality, but there are a few. So please be aware of that as you sign up for courses, because you want to make sure you know which modality of course you are signing up for. For any students that are F1 international students, you'll want to make sure that you have at least 2 traditional courses in your schedule. And those are the in-person classes. An online synchronous course does not count as an in-person course for our F1 international students. So please be aware of that as you're signing up for courses if you're an F1 international student. You can also see the syllabus and the instructor's CV in Coursebook for prior semesters. So UTD just requires instructors to post their class syllabus by the first day of class. So what that means is if you're adding classes for spring now, you won't actually see the syllabus for that class until like right before the semester begins. So if you want a little bit more information about the class, it's helpful to go back to the previous semester and look at the syllabus from the previous semester, which is already posted in Coursebook. Okay, so I want to actually demo this so that you can see what Coursebook looks like live. So I'm going to drag an internet browser here onto the screen, and we're going to type in coursebook.utdallas.edu and click enter. And you are welcome to follow along if you have this space on your screen, or if you want to just watch for now, that's totally fine. What I like to do typically is go to this guided search tab, and then it defaults to spring 2025. And then here are all of the class prefixes. For most of our supply chain students, you're going to stick to the OPRE class prefix. That's our department, Operations Research. For management science, you might be looking beyond just OPRE. Some of you might want to take, an IT management course. That would be MIS. You might be interested in business analytics. That's BUAN right here. So there are multiple, course prefixes in JSOM. For now, though, I'm just going to show you the OPRE courses because most everybody's going to be taking a statistics class in their first semester, and that is an OPRE class. So we're going to go ahead and click on that. And then I usually just click search. And this is going to bring up all of the courses in our department. Now, let's take a look at what pops up here at the beginning. We have OPRE 3310. We have some OPRE 3000 level classes and then 4000 level classes. If it begins with a 3 or a 4, that is an undergraduate class. So that is not for you. Master's level courses begin with a 6. So right down here, OPRE 6301, this is the beginning now of the graduate level courses. So you'll want to pay attention to that. Sometimes people are like, oh, I'm going to sign up for supply chain and operations management, and they're trying to add 3310. That's for our undergrad students. You need to take the grad version of the course, which is a 6000 level class. So we'll go down here and we see, okay, if I'm taking statistics and data analysis, I have 3 choices. Section 001, day, time, classroom, that's a traditional class. OW1, no meeting room. That means that is an online asynchronous course. And then 6301.501, day, time, classroom, that is a traditional course. So you have 2 traditional and 1 online option for OPRE 6301. Same thing with OPRE 6302 if you're going to take operations management. Section 001, Tuesday, 1 p.m. There's a classroom, right? That's a traditional. This is online and then traditional. You can start to see, okay, here's my options with each of these courses. When you click on a course, it'll give you a little bit more information about the course description and whether there's a prerequisite or co-requisite on the class. In the case of operations management, this requires you to either have completed your statistics class, which is a prerequisite, or have your statistics class in your schedule alongside this class. That is a co-requisite. So for our supply chain students, the registration system won't let you add operations management until you've also added statistics into your schedule because of this prerequisite or co-requisite requirement. Okay, now, whenever our instructors update Coursebook with their syllabus, it'll populate over here in this right-hand table. So you see class detail, instructor CV, more options. There'll be another link that says syllabus. But let's just say we want to get a little bit more detailed information on the class besides what we see in this paragraph here. How do we do that? Well, we go back to a previous semester and look at what the instructor had in their syllabus from a previous semester. So we can just go right back up here. Let's just do fall 2024. That's the semester we are in right now. Click search. And this time I'm going to scroll down to 6302. And I see this class here. Now see the syllabus. Now I can click on the syllabus and I can actually see, okay, here's what Professor Wang has in his syllabus, and I can have a little bit more information on what topics are covered, week to week in this class. So it's a little bit more detail on what the class is going to cover. Now, syllabus, a course's syllabus can change semester to semester. So although you may see something in fall 2024, your class syllabus in spring 2025 is likely to be at least a little bit different, right? Generally, they aren't dramatically changing classes semester to semester, but it can happen, right? So we're just using this to get an idea of what this class is about, but we're not using this as like, oh, this is exactly the assignments I'm going to do and the exact tests and all of that, because those specific things about your course can change from semester to semester. So once you get here for orientation in January, then I'll explain how to find those course syllabus documents and go through that once you actually gear up to begin classes in January. Okay, so that is Coursebook. Next up, there we go. Next up, let's talk about actually registering for classes once you've used Coursebook to build out your ideal schedule. So the first thing that you'll want to do is log into Galaxy and check to see if there's any holds on your account. If you have any questions about a hold, there's usually a place in the hold where you can click it, and there'll be an office associated with that hold. So sometimes it may be like a documents hold from admissions, or it's like a TB test hold from the Student Health Center, or an academic department hold that's from our advising team. And if you click on the hold, it'll say like which office put the hold on your account. If you're not sure, let our advising team know. They're very good at helping students figure out how to clear those holds and who they need to go to get the hold resolved. Some of you may have an academic department hold on your account now. There's basically a hold that gets applied to every single new student, and it gets automatically released when it's time to register for classes. So if you see an academic department hold, don't worry about it. That should be automatically removed before your enrollment appointment happens. Now, can somebody raise your hand if you've sent your official degree certificates and official transcripts to UTD? Oh, good. Okay. Oh, awesome. Okay, this is awesome. So yes, begin, definitely send your official documents and official transcripts to UTD as soon as you can. You do not need to have these official documents received in order to sign up for your first semester classes. So that's not going to have any bearing on your ability to register into your spring 2025 classes. But it will prevent you from registering into your second semester classes. So what happens every semester for our spring students, we'll get to March, usually late March, early April, fall 2025 course registration will open. And someone will come to me, John, I have a hold on my account because I didn't have my official documents, and admissions can't process them in time. And then their enrollment appointment passes, classes fill up, and by the time they get that hold resolved, they don't have as many choices for their classes. That is why I really encourage everybody to go ahead and take care of sending those official items now, so that you don't have to be in that situation when we get into March or April and you're trying to register for your second semester classes. So getting those official documents submitted is do that now. Go ahead and take care of it, even though it doesn't impact your ability to add your spring 2025 classes. Okay, second thing on this slide, enrollment appointment. That is the date and time that you can actually begin registering yourself into your courses. Registration is not yet open. It opens the week of November 4th. And enrollment appointments are posted in your Manage My Classes tile, and they are given to students based on seniority. So our students who are planning to graduate in May 2025, they're probably going to be able to enroll in classes on November 4th. That's the first day. Our current first year students, they're telling me that their enrollment appointments are like November 6th. That's that Wednesday. You guys probably have enrollment appointments on either November 6th, 7th, or 8th. That's my guess. So you'll want to locate that day and time in your Orion Student Center to see what's your day and time that you can actually begin adding your courses. And everyone's enrollment appointment's like slightly different. One of you may have an enrollment appointment Thursday, November 7th at 9 a.m. And another one may have an enrollment appointment Thursday, November 7th at 4 p.m. So there's like a day and a time that you can begin enrolling in your courses. So that's the very first day and time that you can begin adding classes. So make sure that you know what that day and time is, because if you try to add classes before that enrollment appointment, it's not going to let you. It can only only happen after that day and time has passed. It's not actually an appointment. You don't have to be logged into your computer, for example, at 9 a.m. on Thursday, November 7th. It's just saying on that day and time, that is when you may begin registering. And any point in time after that, you can add your spring 2025 classes. So hopefully that makes sense. I know that can be a little confusing because people think appointment, do I need to be online at that time? No, you don't have to. It's just saying once that day and time passes, then after that, you may begin enrolling in classes. I generally don't advise people to wait to add courses. Technically, you have until, the week before classes begin to add them. But class sections fill up. And so your options for courses begin to diminish the closer we get to the beginning of the semester, because people will enroll, they'll change their schedules, and sections fill up. So if you want the best shot at building your perfect schedule, then you should go ahead and enroll in those classes as soon as your enrollment appointment passes. Now, your registration credit hour limit is 13 credit hours, and we'll go into what that schedule is going to look like. But that's your limit. So that's basically 4 courses plus the 1 credit hour professional development class. And will the assigned date and time be sent through email? It will not. My understanding is that they don't send that in an email. I think they just expect you to log in and look for it. So yeah, don't look for an email on that one, unfortunately. It's a good idea. I wish they would, actually, but I don't think they do. So you'll want to actually go in and check it yourself. Now, with actual registration, placing a course in your planner is not the same as actually registering into it. So you need to click on the button Finish Enrolling, and that will actually put you into the class. Now, if you're interested in applying for a fall 2025 scholarship, you do need to have at least 12 credit hours completed at the end of the spring 2025 semester. Full-time enrollment is 9 credit hours. 12 credit hours is like 1 additional class above and beyond that. So just be aware, if you're thinking about applying for fall 2025 scholarships as a continuing student, then you'll want to have completed 12 credit hours at the end of that spring semester. That is a scholarship requirement for incoming new spring students who want to be considered for fall 2025 students. And Isabella, is there a minimum credit hour enrollment for F1 students? Yes, it is 9 credit hours. F1 students have to be enrolled full-time, and full-time enrollment is 9 credit hours. If you want to change something in your schedule, you absolutely can do that. You can use the swap feature in Orion. It'll allow you to say, hey, I want to replace this course with this course, and then you click done, and it'll make the swap for you. So you can do that if you'd like in one step. But also be aware that if you add, 4 courses now, and then you change your mind about a class in December, you can go in and swap it then. So enrolling in classes is not a final decision. It's just getting you a spot in what you think you want to add now, and you can always make changes to your schedule all the way through the end of the first week of class. Don't think like, oh, if I enroll in these 4 courses, I'm done, I can't change anything. No. You can swap and mix and add and do whatever you want all the way through the end of the first week of class in January. So just know that it's not a set thing. You're totally fine to make changes to your schedule. Danush, your spring, I'm guessing your enrollment appointment is going to be somewhere between November 6th and November 8th. And again, you'll want to log into Galaxy, take a look at that enrollment appointment. It's going to probably be one of those 3 days, November 6th, November 7th, or November 8th. Abir, 10 credit hours in spring, 3 credit hours in summer. Can you apply for scholarship? No, I believe you have to have it 12 hours in spring. And Surya, do we need a GMAT GRE to be considered? No. So for continuing student scholarships, that is based on your performance as a JSOM student. You do not need a GMAT or GRE score for continuing student scholarships in fall 2025. Last thing on this slide, waitlisting. Galaxy, if a section is full, there will be a little yellow triangle next to it that will allow you to put yourself on the wait list. Waitlisting is not enrolling. So if you put yourself on the wait list, you're not actually in that course. However, you will be notified via email if a spot opens up in the class, and then you'll be able to register into it if a spot opens up. Um, if you register early, you should avoid waitlisting. But if you wait to add your classes until like late November or December, there's a chance that you may end up in a situation where a section of a class is full and you have to put yourself on the wait list and hope that somebody drops. So wait lists have generally cleared by the time we get to the end of the first week of class, at least at the graduate level. But it's not a guarantee that you'll get into the class if you're on the wait list, right? Getting into the class at that point is dependent upon somebody else in the class dropping. So just be aware of that when it comes to waitlisting. Okay, I do want to point out the OM Graduate Student Resource Hub because there's some helpful resources in here. So if you would like to scan this QR code, you can. It'll take you to Box, and then you'll log in with your UTD credentials into Box. This OM Graduate Student Resource Hub is basically where I store all of the resources and items and documents that I need all of my students to be able to access whenever they want. So you'll find a bunch of things in here, things related to academic success, companies that have hired our students for internships and full-time jobs, recordings from like orientation, this recording I'll put in there, information about teaching assistantships, elective course guides. I mean, all these things that are like really helpful for your journey as a graduate student. You'll find that in the OM Graduate Student Resource Hub. I can also put a link to that here in the chat if you would rather just click a link, or if you'd like to just bookmark it and come back to it. I'm not going to go through it in like a lot of detail right now. I just want you to be aware that it exists and that you know how to get to it. So if you have the Box app on your phone, that's a great way to access it. Or if you want to just bookmark this link and come back to it after we're done with the call today and explore the things that are in there, that I would definitely encourage you to do that. Syed, can we internally change our course in JSON? If you mean switching degree programs, yes, that is possible. And if you mean changing courses in your schedule yourself, yes, you can do both of those things. Okay, so I'm going to move ahead now to the next slide, which is a little bit more degree planning information here. Some of these things are things you need to be aware of in terms of completing the whole degree. And then there's some other things that are specific to your first semester. So this first thing that you see on the slide, graduation requirements, this is what you need to earn the actual full master's degree. It's 36 credit hours, which is about 12 courses. You need to have a 3.0 core GPA in order to graduate and a 3.0 cumulative GPA in order to graduate. I will pull up the grading scale here in just a second. So that's to earn the degree at the end of the road. For your first semester, if I have any dual degree students on the call, dual MS Supply Chain plus MBA or dual MS Management Science plus MBA, you should follow the MS course guidance in your first semester. So the next two slides where I go into like what does the first semester schedule look like for an MS Supply Chain and an MS Management Science student, if you're a dual degree student, you should follow that guidance. In your second semester, that's where you'll start to begin incorporating some of those MBA courses, and you might start to deviate from what your MS only peers are doing. But for your first semester, follow the guidance of your MS program. Full-time students. So again, this is all F1 international students. You're required to enroll full-time. That is 9 credit hours. Now, going back up to number 1, it's 36 credit hours to complete the degree. If you're a full-time student taking 9 credits each semester, then that's 2 years to finish the degree. So you can expect to graduate in December of 2026. If you are taking 12 credit hours per semester, then you can finish in a year and a half. And that is May 2026. So I have some students that come into the program. This is a flex program, right? You get to decide. I have some students that come in, they take the full 2 years. I have other students that come in and they want to finish in a year and a half. If you finish in a year and a half, you're loading up on classes a little bit more than a student who's taking two years to complete. Now, for international students, this is most important. Think about this carefully because summer is the best time to get an internship. And you become eligible to do an internship after 2 long semesters. So if you're an international student coming in spring 25, The soonest that you're eligible to do an internship is spring 2026, because you need to have 2 long semesters complete before you can do curricular practical training, or CPT, and that is the work authorization that allows you to do an internship. So there are spring 2026 internships out there, but there's not as many. And like I said, summer is the time to really focus in on an internship. This on the slide, it should say summer 2026. Let me correct that real quick. This was a holdover from last time. So if you want to do an internship, and again, you're required to do an internship because your degree requires it, giving yourself the opportunity to do a summer 2026 internship is ideal. So what that means is that if you finish your degree in May of 2026, you've missed out on all those summer 2026 internship opportunities. So think about that carefully. If you want all those internships available to you to apply for and do, you don't want to finish your degree too quickly and end up being forced to graduate in May before you can take advantage of those summer 2026 internship opportunities. Syed, I see your question in the chat. I will talk about that process at the end. And then Geese, I see your question. Yes, I will send out the slides to everyone, so you'll have these in your inbox as well. Okay, so that's for full-time students and specifically for international students. If there are any students on the call that plan to enroll part-time, that's fewer than 9 credit hours each semester, then you can kind of expect, okay, if I'm taking 1 class or 3 credits per semester, including summers, you can finish in 4 years. If you're doing 2 classes per semester, 6 credit hours, then about 3 years to finish. And I know that we'll have a number of students who are, working full time. And maybe you're taking 1 or 2 classes per semester as a part-time student to complete your degree while you keep your full-time job. And that's usually what I see for part-time students. They can finish in, roughly 3 years, depending upon how they pace out the courses. Now, this is important for everybody. You should have gotten an admissions letter that said, congratulations, you're admitted. And then there were some bullet points in that admissions letter. If your admissions letter shows that you are placed into OPRE 6303, Quantitative Foundations of Business, then you need to email our advising team to be enrolled into that class. It's not a class that you can add yourself. There will also be a hold on your account that prevents you from adding classes until you've been enrolled into 6303. So everyone should double check their admissions letter. And if they see OPRE 6303, Quantitative Foundations of Business in your admissions letter, that means you've been placed into this prerequisite course. And you should email our advising team to be enrolled into it for your first semester. After our advising team enrolls you in that class, then you can build the rest of your schedule on your own. Once you're in, they will allow you to then add the rest of your classes yourself. But it's just that first step that you have to take care of with advising, of having them put you into that class. Please be aware that the OPRE 6303 course is a prerequisite, and it does not count towards the 36 credits that you need to graduate. So it's there to augment your quantitative skills. Both the management science and supply chain programs are very quantitative in nature. So there's going to be a lot of math and statistics skills that you'll need to have solid in order to be successful in the program. And that's where OPRE 6303 comes into play. JSOM is making sure that you're going to have those quant skills that you need to be successful in the program. So just be aware that that course does not count towards the 36 that you need to graduate, but advising can enroll you into it for your first semester, and you take that alongside the rest of your classes in your first semester. Okay. First semester schedules. I'm going to start off here with our supply chain students. Everybody is placed into MAS 6102 professional development in their first semester. This is also a prerequisite course. It is a 1 credit hour course, and it does not count towards the 36 that you need to graduate. But everybody is placed into it. And there are waivers available if you had done an internship in the US, if you are a UTD undergrad who's you did your undergraduate degree at UT Dallas and you took a certain course, you might be exempt. If you've been working in the United States for 2 or more years, you might be exempt. So if one of those 3 things applies to you did an internship in the US, you're a UTD undergrad, or you've been working in the US for 2 or more years, send me an email and I'll give you more information about the waiver process for that. If you do not meet one of those criteria, then you're not going to be exempt from MAS 6102 professional development. You should add a section of professional development into your schedule. For everybody, I typically recommend that you take your statistics class and your operations management class in your first semester. So you can choose between OPRE 6301, Statistics and Data Analysis, or OPRE 6359, which is called Advanced Statistics for Data Science, I believe. You just pick one of the two. 6301 is an Excel-based course, and 6359 is an R-based course. Most of our supply chain students take 6301, and that works out just fine for them. However, if you love analytics, or if you want to learn R, or if you want a little bit more advanced standing in the quantitative realm, then you might consider taking OPRE 6359. Especially if you like analytics. There's a number of business analytics elective courses that do require the advanced statistics class in order to be able to take it. And that OPRE 6305 course that you see on the right side of the slide is one of them. So if you're thinking, hey, I want to do business analytics with R as one of my classes for my supply chain degree, then you need to have OPRE 6359 as your statistics class. Now, again, most supply chain students take 6301, the Excel-based course, and that's totally fine. It works out just fine for them. But I wanted to make that distinction clear so that you can make the choice about your statistics class that's going to make sense for what your goals are. So if you're teetering on the fence about it, I would say take advanced stats. Because advanced stats will cover you for every analytics course that we have in JSOM. Whereas 6301 does not always cover every analytics course. 6302 is our operations management course. And like I mentioned earlier, when I was showing you Coursebook, 6302 requires that you be enrolled in your stats course before you add 6302. It's a co-requisite. They have to be in your schedule together. So the system won't let you add 6302 first and then add your statistics class. It has to be the other way around. You have to add your stats class first and then operations management because it's a co-requisite. You have to have both in your schedule at the same time. Now, if you're a part-time student, that's probably where you'll stop. That's a part-time schedule. If you are a full-time student, then you can consider adding one or two additional classes. The classes that I would recommend are another core class for your degree, which would be OPRE 6371. That's our purchasing, sourcing, contract management course. Or you can do your accounting course. And there's two accounting options, accounting 6301 or accounting 6305. If you want to do both of those and just take 4 core classes in your first semester, you can do that. You may also decide, hey, I want to do stats, operations management, purchasing, sourcing, contract management, and an elective. And that's fine as well. If you are wanting to stop at 10 credit hours, then of course you can just pick one of those things that you see there at the bottom of this box right here. For your elective choices, I put a few of them on the slide here. This is not a full list because you probably saw in Coursebook, there's like a lot of options there. I wasn't going to type all of them out onto the slide. You know how to go to Coursebook now and look for OPRE classes. That's where you'll find your electives. I strongly encourage everybody to really consider one of the courses in green. We know in the supply chain world that analytics and technology are huge. And so my strong advice to all supply chain students is to take at least one analytics class in the program before you graduate. So if you want to do an elective in your first semester, you might consider going ahead and doing one of those analytics courses in your first semester. If you don't do it in your first semester, that's fine. My advice is take at least one before you graduate. So if you don't do it in the spring, consider doing it in the fall. Operations Analytics is a fantastic course. It includes some demand planning, inventory management, things like that. Spreadsheet modeling, you'll become an Excel pro by the end of that course. Supply chain software with SAP. If you have not had experience with SAP in your full-time or internship work experience, SAP is a great course to enroll in. It's the bread and butter supply chain software. So that's a great one. Intelligent Enterprise Systems with SAP is another SAP course. It's taught in our information systems area. So that takes a little bit more IT management approach to SAP, whereas OPRE 6369 is taught in our department, takes a little bit more supply chain focus to SAP. Database Foundations, if you're interested in learning SQL, that is an SQL-based course. The last one there, also Business Analytics with SAS, if you're interested in that as well. So really, really consider one of those green courses, because those we know have some of those really in-demand technical skills that are hot in the job market right now. And we want you to be set up to be as competitive as you possibly can be in the job market. So really think about one of those classes. But if you don't want to do one of those this semester, that's fine. You can wait to do one of those in the fall, and that's totally fine. You can consider one of the other OPRE electives if you'd like to as well. Okay. Now, supply chain students, you see at the bottom of this table your official requirements, and it's a link that says catalog.utdallas.edu. I am going to bring that link up on the screen to show you your official degree requirements, and I'm going to drop this in the chat. So if you are a supply chain student, you should bookmark this page because it is your official degree requirements, and this is what you have to follow in order to earn your degree. And Danush, I see your question here in the chat. Yes, those bullet points that you just screenshotted there, that's your admissions letter. So everybody sees what your screenshot is. Everybody's admission letter should look like that. And some people's admission letter will have an extra bullet point in there saying you've been placed into OPRE 6303. That is exactly right. Okay. So hold on, my internet browser. There we are. Okay, here are your official degree requirements if you are a supply chain student. I'm going to scroll right on down here to course requirements. So you see core classes, 18 credit hours, and elective courses, 18 credit hours. So I am suggesting for your first semester that you take these first two core classes. These second two ones, global supply chain and global logistics. And when you hover over a course in the catalog, it'll give you the description and the prerequisite information. So we see here global supply chain has a prerequisite of OPRE 6302. So this means you're going to take this class in your second semester. You have to have operations management done first. Same thing with OPRE 6370. Prerequisite, OPRE 6302. This is going to be in your second semester. So we're not going to worry about those two classes for now. Deal with that in the fall. Purchasing, sourcing, contract management. No prerequisites. This is why you can take this one in your first semester if you would like. And then same thing down here, accounting, you get to choose one of these three courses. Financial accounting, no prerequisites. You can do that in your first semester. Accounting 6305, no prerequisites. You can do that in your first semester as well. And you can choose between one of these two. Occasionally, I have a student choose finance, this FIN 6301 class, but look at this finance course description. Prerequisites or co-requisites, accounting 6301 or accounting 6305 and your stats course. What this means is that you can't enroll into FIN 6301 unless you also have an accounting course in your schedule and a statistics course in your schedule. So that's why 99% of supply chain students don't do finance. There's a lot of prerequisite requirements on it, and they instead choose to take accounting. Lillian, accounting, if you're a dual degree student, you should take accounting 6301 because that's required for the MBA as well. We actually just recently added accounting 6301 as an option to the supply chain degree. So every student that came in spring 2024 or before, their only option was accounting 6305. So we just added accounting 6301 this fall. So only our fall 2024 batch of students has been able to really take this course. So 90% of our students have taken accounting 6305 because that was the only choice that they had. But we updated our degree requirements this fall to allow our students the choice to take 6301 or 6305. So either one's fine. You can't actually earn credit for both of those classes because of how similar they are. You'll actually see that in this note here on 6305. Credit cannot be received for both courses, accounting 6301 and 6305, because of how similar the content is. So either one you want to do, totally fine. Krithika, how many core subjects can be taken in the first semester? Do we have any limit? Nope. You could do 4 core subjects in your first semester if you want to. That's totally fine. And I have some students do that. They say, hey, I want to focus on the core of the degree in my first year. I'm going to do 3 or 4 core classes in the first semester, finish out the core in the second semester. That's fine. I have other students that they're really wanting to do those electives, and they don't, complete the core in their first year. That's fine too. It's just important that you do statistics and operations management in your first semester. Rafikul, is it possible to change your degree to the dual degree after you complete the first semester? Yes. Remind me at the end, I'll go through the change of program process with everyone. Okay, so these are your core classes. Then your elective courses are down here, and this is where you get to select from this list. So like I said, I didn't put every single class on the slide. You have a lot of options. Not all of these classes are offered in the spring. Some of them are only offered in the fall. So you're not going to see all of these in Coursebook. They're not all available to you in your first semester. But over time, you'll see more and more options. You can pick anything from this list. If you scroll down now to the very bottom, these are the supply chain management tracks. Tracks are not anything that you declare. They are not printed on your diploma. They are not printed on your transcript. They are simply guided pathways. So like I mentioned earlier, you may love analytics, right? This analytics track is giving you a list of electives that will align well with that goal and with that interest. You can choose to take all of these analytics courses. You could choose to take 2, 1, none, whatever you want, right? Tracks are not declarable. They're not, not anything that are officially printed on any document. They're just there to be guided pathways to help you make a decision, because we know that when you look at this big list, sometimes people think, oh my gosh, I don't know what to pick. Scroll down to the tracks, and that'll help give you, narrow down some ideas based on these different themes: analytics, technology and AI, continuous improvement, and risk and strategy. Tanishka, your enrollment appointment is just the day and time that you may begin enrolling. It's not a meeting. That's just when you get the permission to register for classes after that time slot. Exactly. Okay, so supply chain students, hopefully you've bookmarked this page, because this is your official requirements and you'll want to refer back to that anytime you're planning out your schedule. Okay, I'm going to move on to management science students. Okay, just like our supply chain students, you're also going to have MAS 6102 in your first semester. And I also want you to take your statistics class in your first semester. Again, OPRE 6301 is Excel based, and OPRE 6359 is R based. Now, the implications of the stats course is a little more important in management science, because one of your core classes might require the advanced stats course. Okay, so I want management science students in particular to be very aware of this, because this MIS 6359 business analytics with R, that is a core class for you guys. And that does require OPRE 6359 if you want to choose that one as your core option. I also encourage you to think about taking another core class in your first semester. Management science is extremely flexible. So if the only core class that you take in your first semester is statistics, that's usually fine. But I do want you to very seriously consider taking at least one other core class. Spreadsheet modeling is one that that you can think about. There's also the business analytics core option and the database foundations core option. I'm going to bring up your catalog page to illustrate that for you as well. So hold on one second. Management science. Okay. Management science students, I'm dropping this in the chat. You should bookmark this link. Okay. Here's your official degree requirements. We're going to scroll right on down here. Core course requirements, only 12 credits. Okay, just 4 classes. Business analytics, database foundations, statistics, and spreadsheet modeling, right? So those are your 4. What I'm saying is take stats in your first semester and then pick any one of these other ones as your second core class. The main implications here is with this first one, choosing business analytics with SAS or business analytics with R. This MIS 6324, business analytics with SAS course, is what you have to take if you choose regular statistics. That's the Excel-based statistics course, 6301. because the prerequisite or co-requisite is 6301 or advanced stats, right? You can do this one. If you choose to take regular statistics, you cannot do business analytics with R. Why? Because the prerequisite or co-requisite on this course is advanced stat. See how it's just OPRE 6359? So that's where with management science, we kind of end up with this fork in the road, right? We have some management science students who take 6301 for their stats class, and then they take business analytics with SAS. Okay, that's one group of management science students. The other group of management science students take advanced statistics and then business analytics with R. So it's like, I always say with management science, it's a fork in the road. You have to decide which way you're going to go. Are you going to go lighter statistics and lighter analytics? That's 6301 and SAS, or advanced statistics and analytics with R. That's your more advanced route. Okay. So that's what you'll have to decide. That's the kind of the main decision you have to make in terms of your core courses. If you go the OPRE 6301 and SAS route, then you need to be aware that this business analytics with SAS course is only offered in the spring. So you might consider taking this course in your first semester alongside your stat course and having those be your two core classes in your first semester. Because if you don't take business analytics with SAS this spring, the next time that you can take it is spring 2026, which is fine. You know, you can do that. That's not a problem. But just be aware that you might be pushing that last core course to your final semester if you're trying to graduate in a year and a half. So it might be worthwhile to go ahead and just take it in your first semester alongside your stats course and get it done now. That way you're not pushing that one off a whole year. If you're doing the advanced stat option and doing business analytics with R, you have lots of flexibility. There's multiple sections of those classes offered every semester, so you can do whatever you want, and it's fine. So that the SAS option is just a little more restrictive, and that's why I want to be very clear about how you plan that out, because it has some implications for your schedule. Then down here in the electives, you'll see that you can choose any course offered within JSOM as your electives. So you can take anything in JSOM. And that means that there's a lot of options that you get to select from. So if you come back here to our slide, I have some elective ideas based on different themes here. If you are interested in business analytics, you might consider one of these courses that you see here at the top of the box. If you're interested in IT management, consider one of these MIS courses. Marketing, supply chain, if it's in JSOM and it's a 6,000 level course, management science students can choose that as an elective. So that is a lot of options. I'm going to pull up the Graduate Student Resource Hub that I had you scan into just a little bit ago in Box. Management science students, here we are. Here is our Box Resource Hub. I want you to take a look at this elective choice guide PDF. Because as you saw in the catalog, there's not a lot of like directed guidance for electives in management science. So I made this guide specifically to help students think about what it is they want in their career, and then how to build some electives into their program that makes sense for that career path. Because again, we want you to be set up for success in the job market. So the way that I approached this elective choice guide is, what do you want to do in your career? And then let's build some electives into your degree that make sense for that kind of career trajectory. So please take a look at this elective choice guide. There are 6 pages in here that kind of relate to these popular career options: business analytics, project management, healthcare, IT management, strategic management, and supply chain. Some reminders about electives, and then here are your actual like suggestions. So if you're like, hey, I think I want to go into business analytics, I want to do data, that kind of thing, here are some classes that you might consider as electives to set you up well on that path. If you're interested in ITM, again, here are some classes that are going to make sense to set you up well on that path. Project management, strategic management, that's kind of like consulting, healthcare, supply chain. So I'm giving you some suggestions to narrow down the massive amount of courses that we have in JSOM and narrow it down to some specific suggestions that make sense for your career path. Okay, So if you're a management science student in particular, please go into Box. It's right here when you click into Box. It's in this list of PDFs, Management Science Elective Choice Guide, and that is where you'll find that document. Okay. That is the main bulk of the information that I have in terms of registration. I am going to, the last couple slides I have here are some things that are not super registration related, but more like gearing up for your first semester. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and go through these, and then I will turn it over to you guys for questions. First thing that I want everyone to be aware of, internships. I mentioned this earlier, but international students, you are only eligible to do an internship after you've completed 2 long semesters and 18 credit hours in the program. That's essentially the halfway point of the program. So spring 2026 is when you'll become CPT eligible. For our domestic students on the call, you, of course, can work anytime, but you cannot enroll in that internship course until you've completed 18 credit hours. So you also have to pass that halfway point in the program. So don't think, oh, I'm going to, land an internship in January and just enroll in that class in my first semester. No. You got to have 18 credit hours done in the program before we can enroll you into the internship course. For domestic students as well, if you have a full-time job, we can use that full-time job to fulfill your internship requirement of the degree. We don't expect you to quit your job and go off and do an internship, right? Like, no. If you're a full-time working professional, we will work with you to make sure that you can use that full-time job to fulfill the degree requirements. Again, this is not something you have to worry about right now, but please reach out to me maybe after the end of your first semester at the end of spring so that I can give you more information on how to use that full-time job to complete that requirement. If you ever fail a course or think you're going to fail a course, please come talk to me because we want to make sure that you're still going to make progress towards internship eligibility, right? Because you have to complete 18 credit hours. If you fail a class, you don't earn credit for it. And then you may not hit 18 credit hours, right? And that can be bad. So if you're ever in danger of failing a class or think you might fail a class, please come talk to me as soon as that light bulb goes off so that we can chat about your options. I don't want somebody to kind of go through the program and fail something and not talk to me about it because that has some implications on your progress. So please reach out if that ever is, you think that may happen. MAS 6102 is going to help you a lot in your internship search, especially for our international students. You may be coming to the US for the first time, navigating the US job market for the first time. That is what MAS 6102 is designed to do. It's going to help you with all that information that you need to be successful in your search. Our JSOM Career Management Center also has a ton of resources. They are amazing. You'll be able to take advantage of them from day one. And then, of course, you can follow our pages. If you haven't already gotten connected on LinkedIn to give us a follow, please go ahead and do that. I've actually spotlighted some of our students and where they have gone to do internships. I've also spotlighted some of our current students. You can reach out to them, get to know them. If you're a supply chain student, I just dropped your LinkedIn page in the chat. And if you are a management science student, I am about to drop that link in the chat. So super easy way to stay up to date and get to know some folks in the program before you get here. I've spotlighted some of our faculty and interns and things like that. You can also use the hashtag UTDMSSCM for supply chain and UTDMSMSC for management science if you want to just search on LinkedIn to see our students, like where they've gone and done internships. Not anything that you need to be worrying about right now, right? It's still super, super early. But if you just want to browse and kind of get to know what our students are doing, that's a great way to do that. Okay, international students. I do want to make a quick note about where my knowledge level stops with regards to your visa. If you have questions about your I-20, the F1 visa, H-4 visas for anyone who may be on an H-4, whether your schedule is going to meet the requirements of your visa, you should send a message to ISSO via iComment. They tell me that iComment is the fastest way for them to respond to you. So don't send them an email in like ISSO current. Go into iComment and send your message through iComment. You'll get a response much faster that way. If you haven't already bookmarked the ISSO advising page, I'm going to drop that link here in the chat. So if you ever have I-20 visa questions, things like that, please go to this link and send them a message in iComment. They will get back to you and they will respond. I am not an international student advisor, so my knowledge about some of those things is limited. There's a ceiling on it. And for all of our international students on the call, as you're probably aware already, the US federal government is not really something to be played with. There's a lot of regulations and a lot of things that go into regulating the visa process. And I do not want to give you wrong information. So if I direct you to ISSO, please go to ISSO. They are the experts on our campus as it relates to I-20 visa, those kinds of things. I want to make sure that you get accurate, correct information about that, because it can have some serious implications if you don't follow those regulations around your visa very strictly. So please be aware of that. If you are not going to be able to make it to Dallas by the first day of class, please consider deferring your admission to fall. It's really not ideal to be showing up to class a week after classes begin. It's not a great experience for anyone involved. So if you're not going to be able to physically arrive to UTD by the first day of class, please consider a deferral. Reach out to me directly to let me know what's going on, and I'll give you the process for how to do a deferral if you need to do that. You must report your local address to UTD as soon as possible. ISSO will send you an email to your UTD email. So be paying attention to that. They'll let you know how to do that and where to do that in Orion. Every international student will have a TB test hold on their account. That should be pushed out to the first day of class. They should allow you to register into your classes, but if you don't have that TB test done by the first day of class, then that hold gets placed back onto your account and then you can't make changes to your schedule. Just be aware of that. Once you get here, you should get that TB test done right away, and then they should clear that hold for you. I mentioned this earlier. This is really for everybody. Getting those official documents sent to UTD. For international students, though, electronically is the preferred method. I have a number of students that have reached out and said, can I physically bring my official documents with me, like on the plane, and hand them to UTD admissions? Technically, yes, you can do that. But they're very strict about accepting official documents. So if while the item is in your carry-on and it gets ripped on the plane, if that envelope is ripped, UTD admissions is probably not going to accept it. So it's kind of risky to bring physical documents with you and physically bring them along. So if at all possible, please do the official documents electronically. It's much faster, it's much more secure. You don't have to worry about paper, and there are electronic options for sending your official documents to UTD. If you need the link on how to send official items, I'm going to drop that here in the chat. And again, if you have not taken care of that, go ahead and do that. Going up to Tanishka's question, can you register for your spring 2025 classes without submitting your official items? Yes. This does not impact your first semester, but it is going to impact your second semester. And like I mentioned earlier, I always have students every year. We get to second semester registration and somebody has not gotten those official documents taken care of, and then they can't register. So please take care of it now. That way we don't have to worry about that. And then you'll also receive some information about orientation. There is international student orientation that is for all of UTD, like all international students at UTD. And then we have a JSOM, Jindal School of Management orientation as well. And that will be taking place on January 16th. That is the Thursday before classes begin. And that is usually when I get to see everybody in person here on campus. So read your emails, make sure that you sign up for orientation. You'll get more information about that as we get closer to the end of this year. All right. Okay, one last thing before I conclude here. Communication. You've heard me say it now multiple times. You have to read your email. It is the way that UTD communicates with you. It is the way that I communicate with you. So don't be relying on your personal email anymore. You need to be using your UTD email for everything. Some of you, I think I had messaged on LinkedIn when you were applying and we had some LinkedIn conversations. Don't go back to LinkedIn and message me. You have a UTD email now, and you have my UTD email. So I want to communicate with you with your UTD email. So don't send me a LinkedIn message asking a question about registration. Please don't use Microsoft Teams to send me a message either. I only use Teams to communicate with other faculty and staff at UTD. I need to communicate with you by UTD email. So send me a UTD email. It can get a little bit busy around registration time. So if you don't hear back from an office, within a day or so, that's normal. Sometimes it's just a high volume of traffic. So please allow them at least a couple of days to get back to you, especially when we get to the week of November 4th, when everybody's trying to register. Last thing here, just remember professionalism. I already told you you can call me John, but we know when you're working with your professors and working with your instructors, please make sure that you address them as Professor so-and-so or Dr. so-and-so. Okay, last thing here. In conclusion, read your email, use Coursebook to search for your classes and build your schedule, log into Orion to see when that enrollment appointment is, when you can begin registering to your classes, and reach out to me with any questions. These are the 5 apps that I suggest you download onto your phone. That is the Outlook app for your UTD email, the UTD app itself, which has a very, very helpful campus map. It actually has like a floor plan of each building, so you can see like, oh, I need to go to this classroom. It'll actually, like, you can actually see the hallways and the rooms in the app. Very, very helpful. Box, like I said earlier, that's the OM Graduate Student Resource Hub. Download Box on your phone. You can access that on your phone. LinkedIn, of course, you want to follow your program page. That's where you can, reach out to some of our alumni and current students. If you want to introduce yourself before you, join the program in January, you're totally welcome to do that. And I actually, before I got on this call, I made a new batch group chat on WhatsApp for everyone, but it looks like you guys beat me to it. So I don't need to worry about dropping those WhatsApp groups in the chat because you guys already took care of it. So it looks like Abir, you made the supply chain one. So if you scroll, supply chain students, if you want to scroll all the way up to the top of the chat at 8:49 a.m. Dallas time, Abir dropped a link in the chat for supply chain students. And then shortly after that, Manupreet, you dropped a WhatsApp group link in the chat at 9:14 a.m. Dallas time, also at the top, for management science students. And it looks like Manupreet, make sure that you're using the second link that Manupreet sent. So I don't need to drop my my WhatsApp groups in the chat. It looks like you guys already took care of it. Beat me to it. So please go ahead and do that. It's a great way to get to know your fellow new students before you get here. All right, I am going to start answering some questions. I'm also going to pop my email up here on the screen so you have it in case you don't already know it. I'm guessing most of you probably do already know it, but just so you have it. This is also where I'll stop the recording. So thank you to everyone who is watching the recording. If you're watching the recorded version of this meeting, please reach out to me directly if you have any questions or concerns. Let me know, and I am happy to help. So thank you so much.